Okay, I guess we're live streaming already. So Oyin, I think you want to go and copy the link so you can send to the group in case we exceed 300, because this should be able to take 300 people. So I think we can start now. We can get ready. Everybody here is an in-house person, ba? Abi? Including Ibrahim. Like people have started joining. Okay, guys, let me take a back seat now.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I want to ensure that I can see everybody joining. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. This is Origins, and my name is Gideon Ayomikposi-Okiriki. I'll be hosting for today the session on the degree delusion, why your degree is not enough, and how to win before you graduate. But before we continue, so I just want to ensure that we can all hear me clearly. So if you can just give a thumbs up or a like, right, so that I'm aware that you can hear me. You can hear me. Okay. Good evening, Ibrahim, Zainab, Omalara. How are you doing today? You can unmute your mic. Hello, Zainab, you can unmute your mic. How are you doing today? And just a brief introduction, your name, your school, and where you're calling from.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ibrahim Zainab Omalara.
Okay,
good evening, welcome.
A 4-level medical laboratory science student. Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yeah, clearly we can hear you.
Okay. I'm from Kwara State and I'm from Kwara State University, Malete.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, Zainab. You're welcome, Zainab. You said you're in 400 level.
Yes, sir,
Am I
400 level.
correct? Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Emmanuel Duncan. Can see Emmanuel Duncan. You're welcome. You're welcome. Just kindly introduce yourself, your name, your school, your level, and yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, everyone. I am Emmanuel Duncan, a 400 level student of medical laboratory science at the University of Uyo, Akwa State.
Okay, thank you very much, Duncan. Welcome. So this is Origins. Please do well to post the link on your status or on your class group chat as well, so that your friends can also be part of this. You know, Origins, I've happened to experience this as a listener as well, and it really helped me last year. And I'm sure you don't want to even miss out of what is packed in this program, in this meeting that is kicking off today. So please do well to inform your friends. You can post it on your status now. Just so let's do that. Everybody, Zainab, make sure you do that as well. And everybody on this call, please just welcome, Michelle. Welcome. Can you hear me? Just a brief introduction, your name, your school, where you're calling from. Over to you. Can you hear me, Michelle? If you can, just a brief introduction. So Zainab and Duncan, if you've done that, just give a thumbs up. You're welcome, Philip Joshua. You're welcome. So we're doing introduction. So my name is Gideon Ayomikposi-Okiriki, and by God's grace, I'll be moderating for today. So I would love to know you as well. and your expectation from this meeting. What do you expect? What are you expecting from Origins? So just a brief introduction. Philip Joshua, over to you. You can unmute your mic. Philip Joshua, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Okay, welcome, Oluwatoyosi. Welcome, welcome. So we could also use the chat box as well. We could use the chat box as well by just telling us what your expectations are so that we're aware of it as well. You're welcome. So we'll be starting any moment from now. We'll be starting by 8 p.m. sharp. We're just waiting for others to join us. So please do well to post it on your group chat. Do well to post the link on your group chat. Don't hold this information to yourself alone. Share to your friends, share to your classmates, share to people that you know that would love to be part of this, that would benefit from this as well. So Philip Joshua, I'm here to get a response from you. So I just want to know your name, your school, where you're calling from, and then you're welcome, Mercury, Ambless Mercury, Sir Ambless Mercury. I think I've seen that name on LinkedIn. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Mysterious. You're welcome. So please, we can use the chat box. Just introduce yourselves, your name, your school, your level, and then your expectations from this meeting. Also, do well to share the link to your friends, share the link to your class group chat and on your status. We're about to start. We are starting by 8 p.m. sharp. So please do well to send in your introductions and also share the link as well. Share the link as well. So thank you very much. Okay, so I think I'll have one more person. Ochedi David, good evening. So how are you doing today? And just give us a brief introduction of yourself, your name, your level, your school as well, and then your expectation from this meeting. Ochedi David, is he still here? I don't know if he's still here. Okay, you can also use the chat box as well if you're shy. Like a lot of us are shy today. I don't know why. Okay, Abigail, you can go on. You can go on if you want to speak, you can use the mic as well. Okay, you're welcome, Michael. You're welcome. Welcome, Dorcas. Welcome, 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 welcome. Right, all right. So we're starting now. I believe that we must have all sent the message to our friends. So today's topic is on the degree delusion. The degree delusion, and it's why your degree is not enough and how to win before you graduate, right? And our speaker today is not that person than Oluwamuyiwa Ogunkoya. Um, the epistles are actually a lot. The degree of things that this man has is a lot. So Oluwamuyiwa Ogunkoya is a medical laboratory scientist with strong interest in molecular diagnostics, infectious diseases, and human microbiome. He currently works as a research assistant on multiple internationally funded projects under the Center for Neurological Sciences Research and Training, College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Oluwamuyiwa is the executive director of MedLabConvo, a youth-led organization committed to leading change, inspiring action, and nurturing the next generation of world-class professionals in the biomedical science field and beyond. He's also the founder of Bloodlines, a tech-enabled community-powered initiative addressing the critical challenge of low voluntary blood donation rates in Nigeria. How powerful. He is a proven leader with a strong track record of impact and multiple awards to show for it. Passionate about health, education and leadership, Oluwamuyiwa is constantly learning, innovating, speaking, and acting on critical issues that border on these domains. In his spare time, he enjoys playing chess just for the fun of it. But also to sharpen his strategic thinking. With a clapping ovation, please use the clapping emoji. With a clapping emoji, let's welcome our speaker, Oluwamuyiwa, scientist Oluwamuyiwa Ogunkoya. Please, I want to see our clapping emojis. I cannot see our clapping emojis. Our clapping emojis. Thank you. Thank you. Scientist Oluwamuyiwa, over to you, sir.
It is supposed to be I'm doing webinar. It is supposed to.
Okay, Fausia, please.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. I mean, happy to have everybody here. I hope others are joining soon, because I don't know, maybe it's the culture of Nigeria, but the culture of MedLabConvo is not to wait for anybody. Maybe I will just try to do a little bit of chit chat while we just maybe wait a little bit. But I'm happy to be here. Origins is actually a brainchild of a couple of people, including myself. And it's because we've kind of identified that a lot of people are going through school and not really knowing, they don't have like the rubrics, there's no manual per se to assist them in how to navigate school itself. So many people think that school is just about writing exams and passing and having grades and stuff, but it's way, way, way beyond that, right? So so there are many reasons, there are many things you can do with your time in school. And the point of this very first session is to give more or less like an overview of the things that you need to do to become like a top class undergraduate. It's a general purpose session, but I mean, it's still very useful for you as a medical laboratory science student. So I would be presenting my slide now. We'll get right into it, and then we see how far this takes us tonight. Please confirm that you can see my slide. Please note that now that I've started sharing, I can no longer see what's happening. I can no longer see thumbs up and stuff like that. So I would ask that you please oblige me or indulge me to respond when I do ask for your responses. So I'll be putting it on full screen mode. I don't know if I want to do full screen mode actually. I want to do full screen mode. Okay. Anyway, so in case you cannot hear me, in case anything happens, just cut me short. Right? Just cut me short. I've been told that 30 minutes. I have a bad habit. I don't know how to speak for 30 minutes. If you give me 30 minutes, I'll most likely want to speak for an hour. If you give me 10 minutes, I'll most likely want to speak for 20 minutes. Now that you're giving me 30 minutes, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to give like an abridged version of some of the things I'm hoping to share today. So again, the topic is the degree delusion. The topic is the degree delusion, why your degree is not enough, and how to win before you graduate, right? So I'll be talking on a couple of things, but one thing I want you to do first is really to imagine yourself in the position of somebody that's about to graduate. That's the first exercise for today, right? So just for like 1 or 2 minutes, just reflect. Go into your mind's eye, right? Just go into your mind's eye. Imagine yourself that you're about to graduate, right? Just imagine yourself that you're about to graduate. You've prepared for this day. You know, it's just tomorrow. The day is tomorrow, right? You've prepared for the day. You've bought all the things you need to wear. You bought your shoes. You bought your suits if you're wearing suit, or you've sewn your gown, right? What else? You've gotten your sash. You paid all the things you need to pay, and you're just about to get either inducted or you're about to get convoked. How do they usually say it? Right. So just put yourself in that state of mind. Right. So you'd also, during the day of the graduation itself, you're walking down the street to the hall. Your steps are different.
We were so sorry to cut you, sir. I think your audio is a bit low. We can hardly hear you clearly, sir.
Yeah, audio. Sure. Audio is low. That's low. Okay. Do you think if I increase, is it better like this now?
Yes, it's much better. It's much better.
Okay. So, so just imagine yourself in that state, really, right? You're walking down to the hall, your steps are different. Your juniors greet you, and there's that subtle snub that you relate soon. Just imagine, as I know you guys are still undergraduate, but just imagine that you're a graduate. Everybody's proud of you. Your parents are proud of you. Everybody's, those women that are always looking to get money out of your pocket as well, they are there disturbing. They want to put something on your breast, one badge or something, one ribbon, in an attempt to get money from you. You're finally climbing the stage and you've gotten your degree, you're climbing down back, you have an after party, everybody's happy, everybody's excited. You're probably the first person in your generation to go to school, possibly. And then, everything happens like that. Very cool day, very interesting day. Then you sleep you sleep and then you wake up the next morning. So remember that you're imagining yourself, right? So whenever it is that you wake up, it may not be, so I'm speaking metaphorically now. It may not be immediately the next day. So metaphorically speaking, you could wake up next week, right? From the whole euphoria of the joy and everything that has to do with graduation. Becomes the next thing that happens is that you now begin to ask yourself, what next? Right? If you cannot relate to this is the question that everybody that has graduated asks themselves after graduation. Unilag people MLS just did their induction yesterday. I'm sure this is the question that they will now begin to ask themselves now, what next? I was having a conversation with one of my junior colleagues before they did their induction. And the conversation really was around this. In fact, let me even sent to me yesterday, right? It was like, thank you, my boss. The way forward is not going to be easy for us as we are all left to navigate the real world on our own. Forgive me if I slide into your DM multiple times, henceforth seeking clarity on things that lies ahead. So that's the big question. So what next happens? But you see, this question of what next is a question that I think people ask too late. If you're asking the question at the point of your graduation, that question is already too late. right? It's already too late. And the reason for that is because you're competing with a whole lot of people, right? You're competing with a whole lot of people. And if you are only asking that question when you're finished school, then all you have to do is kind of catch up with the pack, right? Especially if you are a very ambitious person. If you're not like the career-minded person, you just want to get married to a rich person and have children and, I mean, this doesn't have to do with you at all. But if you're an ambitious person, you want to make something out of your life, that question is a question that that comes too late, right? And the problem is that many of us go into school thinking, and it's something that our parents say every day, and it's something that has kind of worked for them anyway. So because when most of them were going into school was not like the main thing. Just the number of them went to school, went to university. So when they were coming out of university, having a degree was a scarce commodity. So people were looking for them. Even having a secondary school leaving certificate was also a scarce commodity. You could get a very good job because you did your secondary school, you passed, you had SSC, right? And it's still that same mindset that parents pass on to their children. That's the same mindset they make you have when you're going into school. So you think it's just about going to school, passing, having good grades, coming out, and then maybe somehow the world is waiting for you. The world has always been waiting for you to finish school, right? But that's not how it is now, because you have the problem of unemployment, right? There's also the problem of what jobs or what employers need these days is not what school teaches, right? What employers need these days is not what school teaches. So a very good example you can use to confirm this is, look at your curriculum. I'm going to still talk about this, but maybe let me just bring it in now. Look at your current curriculum. Go and get like your current curriculum. Look at all the things that they're teaching there. Now, look for a very similar role for whatever it is that you're studying. So everybody is studying MLS. Pick like any advanced role that you're looking for. Let's say you want to end up in a research institution. Look at their job requirement and compare it with what you're being taught in your curriculum. You see that there's a very big gap. So it means that when you're leaving school, there's still a lot you have to cover to meet up to some of the requirements that these institutions and these employers require, right? So it means like you have a lot of work to do. So there's detached curricula, there's a jobs gap, there's credential inflation, still the same idea that somehow that entitlement that, or how do I put this? It's credential inflation is the fact that you still have to kind of go back to take more course or to take more, say you want to go and go further now to do like a master's, to kind of pump up what you already have in your bachelor's degree to be able to get certain jobs, right? And there's the endurance gap that we're all made to kind of believe while we're in school. So most people just believe that if you can endure school for 5, 6, 7 years and you come out, the world will just open up for you. But that's not the case, right? So anybody that thinks this way or that still thinks this way is actually very deluded, right? That's not how the world works anymore, right? So what you now need to do, is you actually have to face reality, right? First, acknowledge and accept that this is how the world works now, right? Just having a degree doesn't give you any serious advantage, right? Maybe to some extent, people in the medical industry are they still have it better, let me put it that way, because you're trained for your skills, right? But if you look at many other courses, many other, like the gap is even way, way more. But even at that, there's still a very big gap between what is required of you when you finish school and what actually school teaches you. So the delusion has to end, right? But knowing that is like the delusion is not enough, right? In fact, it's even worse because now you know. If you don't now do anything about it, it's no longer a case of ignorance. It's now a case of deliberate choice not to do anything about it. If you don't do anything about it, then you just have better language to complain. You know how the way Nigerians like to talk too much about all the problems in the country, but nobody's doing anything about it. You see very, very deep intellectual arguments that people will talk about, on the news. They'll tell you all the problems. It's the same way you're just going to be, right? But you still have the advantage. And the advantage that you have is that you've not graduated yet, right? You've not graduated yet. So you still have time. You still have your ID card. You still have access to, for schools that have Microsoft 365, you have access to a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities out there for undergraduates that once you leave school, you no longer have. There's this stuff that I was applying for recently. So I'm supposed to, it's an application to be in Kenya for a workshop. And some of the requirements that they put there is for you to have like an institutional email, right? So you have to have an institutional for them to confirm certain things and some other things and stuff like that. So imagine if you don't have an institution, meaning that there's an edge that being in an institution gives you as a person, as a student. There are certain things that you just, I think recently I just saw that Gemini, Google is giving Gemini free for students, right? But you have to use your student email to log in, right? So you still have an advantage, you still have a student ID card. The world can still forgive you for some mistakes. Like your university period is the period where you can you can try a lot of things, experiment a lot of things, and the cost of your experimentations would be very, very low. The world will forgive you. You're still kind of shielded by the support you're getting from your people. School has not released you to the world to go and figure things out yet. So the decisions you make are not as consequential as when you're outside school. So you're supposed to treat your university period as something like a terrain, basically. Find a way to navigate through it. Do many different things, and try a lot of things, and come out better as a person all rounder, right? So the last thing you need to do is you really need to start moving, right? But how do you move? I think of it in like 8 different ways. The things that you need to do, how to win before you graduate, right? One is knowledge, and I cover this a lot in the material, but I'm just going to try to breeze through all of them here, right? So the first aspect of this is knowledge, right? First is that you have to understand that information is the currency of life. Everything that concerns the entire world has to do with information. The rich has the edge as the rich because they have access to certain informations that other people do not have, or they have sooner access to those informations that other people do not have. So when they have it, it's probably already too late, right? Even your body as an organism, right, depends on information. So your DNA controls, the material in your body is not so different from what the material in a wood or in some other whatever, right? The difference is that you have an instructional manual that tells your body to do certain things. That's information. Technology as well is based on information. Every single thing. The marketplace is also based on information. Who heads, who gets more profit, it's based on early access to information. Information is the currency of life. So you have to understand that one first. And then you have to do everything that you can to learn and keep learning, right? And I know that in Africa, most especially, there's an anti-intellectual mentality of some sort that if you know anything at all, it's almost as if you know too much. So everybody calls you an oversabi or an IT key. If you show any attempt of trying to be curious or to attempt, gaining extra knowledge, and you people are probably culprits of this. So you have one person in your class that reads a little bit ahead, right? The next thing you hear from people in the class is that this one is doing too much. He's doing too much. He's doing oversabi. He's doing that kind of thing, right? So, but you have to let go of that. You have to because the people you're competing with out there, in information-rich countries, this attitude doesn't exist. It's in Africa that you start seeing people that, this one is doing too much, that one is, because again, the people you're competing with out there know a lot more than you, right? The way they teach them with the latest information, right? So I remember attending a summer school that was hosted by University of Barcelona. And one of the things that one of the professors was teaching, like, it was making reference to a paper, and the paper was published like just some months before. That's what it was using to teach. No, here in our own country, what they used to teach is textbooks. And the textbooks that they used to teach is probably 5th edition of a textbook that already has a 10th edition, right? So you have to learn and learn and learn if you really want to go out there and compete with people. Then you also have to have what I call a shadow syllabus, which is what I said I was going to talk about, right? So because your curriculum is not enough, you have to sit down, do a curriculum audit, sorry. So like I said, check what is obtainable in the world out there, what people need. Let's say you want to work with the WHO. Check what job applications the WHO look like, what are the requirements, and check what your curriculum says and identify the gaps. Now, it's not enough to identify the gap. That gap now becomes your own personal syllabus, your independent educational plan, right? It becomes your shadow syllabus. So as you're learning what you're learning, you're not supposed to leave that alone. You're also learning what you've planned for yourself to learn. I have my own shadow syllabus, even though these days I've been too busy to keep track of. But if you check my laptop, there's a place that I call IEP. So under my MOE files, there's what I call IEP, Independent Educational Plan, or your shadow syllabus. And if you open it, you see folders of some of the things I said that I was going to learn for a period of time, right? So you need to have your own shadow syllabus. So check what is obtainable out there now, right? And start building yourself towards getting those skills now that you're shielded. One of the biggest mistakes that I think I still regret to today is not learning bioinformatics. In fact, I paid for a course. I think I paid about 22,000 at that time, but I wasn't able to follow through. Now that I'm inside, that I'm in the research world and everything, they are looking for people that understand bioinformatics like they are looking for thief, right? And I can't easily fill into that gap because I have not built that skill. So it's something I'm now having to now learn. And now I don't have all the time, right? So there's that happening at the same time. But you can pick up these things very, very early on. So there's a lot of time for you as a student, summer breaks, stuff like that, in between. I know you say you don't have time, but when you come to the outside world, you know whether you have time or not. So I know that you have time because I've been there, right? So just try. Then chase first class. There's a quote that says that if you shoot for the moon, you're going to fall among the stars, right? So chase first class doesn't mean you should leave everything else and get first class. No, that's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is aim at it. If you don't finish with first class, at least you will finish with a 2-1. And the reason for that is because the opportunities that are out there, 90% of the opportunities that are out there are for first class and second class upper people. The remaining opportunities are for the common people, right? Whether you're applying for a scholarship, whether you're trying to get employment, anything at all, think of it as a funnel. So if you think of a funnel, for example, the top part has the widest gap, right? And then it begins to reduce and reduce and reduce. But the point where it gets to the bottom part where it now flows down, you see that everything just collapses. It's just one straight stuff. So people that are in the first class area, like at the top, then 2-1 are people that still like the part that is coming down, right? And getting a first class is not about getting, because the problem why people don't, one of the reasons why people don't chase first class, because they think it's about getting the first class. And they say, I don't need it. No, that's not the reason why you get a first class. The reason why you get a first class or a 2-1 is because you have more options when you get these things. You have more options when you have them, right? So you can choose to say, I don't want to apply for this. I don't want to apply for that. But if you don't have it at all, your options are very, very limited, and you have more people crowded for that same opportunity, right? So chase first class, try as much as possible to get it. But that's not the reason why you're not getting it. Not, again, remember, we're talking about the degree division. Your first class is not what saves you, right? But it gives you options. It gives you options, and you want to get those options. Right? Start researching. And the reason why I say start researching is not necessarily also because you want to publish and stuff. It's because research helps you to build the skill of inquiry. You know, everybody's looking for problem solver. Involving yourself in research is just basically how to ask the right questions and how to think around solutions for those questions, right? So that's the point of research. You may not everybody is going to end up in a research stuff. Fine, right? Not everybody needs like the deep. Try to be curious as a person. Try to try out things, right? And I know the way school curriculum is, it's almost as if they're telling you that you don't need research until you're in your final year. And at that point, you can't wait to get out of school. You know, they say that the peak, what's the word? I don't know, the highest, the point where you have like the highest enthusiasm for school, for any kind of school, is when you get inside the school. So when you get matriculated, that's when you're excited the most. Somehow school just feeling the vibe. And so your enthusiasm just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And the second best time when you have that same enthusiasm is when you're about to leave school again, right? School kind of kills that ginger, right? But you yourself you have to be able to see school as something different, as a learning ground, right? So that curiosity is what keeps your kind of spirit alive, right? So engage in research. They tell you, oh, 500 level, 400 levels when you do, that's when you start doing your research methodology and stuff like that. But that's not the time. It's almost as if it's saying you don't need to think until you're about to get into the outside world. But thinking early is very, very important. I know a lot of people that, you know, started very early, and because of that, you know, I mean, you see students going for travel grants, going for one conference, fully funded outside the country, coming back and stuff like that, right? And it doesn't mean that they'll necessarily end up in research, but that experience gives them exposure to people, to certain communities that you'll never be a part of, right? And it just makes them stand out, right? So knowledge is the first part. The second part is the mindset that you need to build. Number one is growth mindset. Everybody knows what a growth mindset is by now, I believe, right? If you don't, go and read Carol Dweck's book on mindset. But the idea of the growth mindset is simple, right? You don't see yourself as what you do or don't do. So failures are like a learning process. So I think the simplest way to put it is, if you're not able to do something, instead of judging that you're not able to do it, you just put yet at the back of it. So I don't have coding skills yet. Instead of saying I'm not interested in this, or I'm not a coder, or I'm not a I don't know what's the word, anything you can think of. I'm not a very good footballer, or I'm not a very good dancer. Just put yet in front, right? Because the growth mindset helps you to think beyond certain obstacles. And it happens a lot it happened to me as well. So something happens, you have a bad result, and then you just judge yourself that you're not good in this thing, Jerry. Don't want to stress yourself. And then you just give up. Subconsciously, you give up on trying to improve, right? But everybody has, you know, a boundless reserve of potential. You can do a lot of things. So, but if you have but it starts with having the right mindset. If you have the growth mindset, then you see obstacles as things to cross rather than walls that blocks you entirely, right? Then you also have to be an optimistic person. And I speak this also in terms of people who have bad results. So for me, I gave up on first class, for example, very early, after my 100 level, because So I remember I was calculating my scores in my my first semester. And I'd already seen all my results except one result, and it was maths. So, and I'd never had anything less than a B in maths before. So when I was calculating that, okay, it's maths that remain. If I have an A, I was going to be in a first class, fine. If I had a B, I was going to be in a first class. Even if I had a C, I was still going to be in a first class. It was going to be like borderline something. But I ended up having an E. No, I ended up having an F, which was very strange. But there was mass failure, for that math. So a lot of people failed. And I was one of those people. And what happened was that it automatically drew my result to 4.0 out of 5 exactly. Somebody's mic is on. So I kind of gave up early. So I didn't have that optimistic mindset that, okay, I could also kind of push through and stuff. I mean, compare that with the story of one of my junior colleagues now that finished. So even, I mean, I still had like a 4.0, but I think after our first semester, she finished, after our first 100 level, she finished with a 3.7 something, right? This speaks to optimism. This also speaks to resilience. So let me just touch on it once. But yesterday, she finished with the first class, right? So being able to reframe what happens to you in a positive way rather than being pessimistic is also a very useful tool. And agency is really just about being a problem solver. Something happens, be the first to try to do something about it, because the world is looking for people like you. And the way to be that person that the world looks for is not by a one chance happening. It has to be an habit or a habit, some sort. So you're forming the habit bit by bit by bit, right? You're not just Superman is not you're not going to be a Superman in one day. If you are, then at the end of the day, they're going to discover your fraud or your whatever, right? So it's something that you build over time. So you identify a problem, just try to solve it. And one thing I've noticed is that people notice, right? People notice for all my flaws that I had in university, anytime there was an issue to be solved, my name would be one or two, right? With all the fights that we have in the class or whatever. When it was time for something to be solved, they will call my name one. If I'm not the first on the list, I'll be the second on the list. And that has kind of helped me because it has put me in contact with other problem solvers that were students, right? And when you have like a clique of people that think this way, there's something that it does to you. So now I know like a lot of people that are doing like great stuff. So it's like a ginger for me to not give up, right? It's like a ginger for me to, it's like a frame for me to see possibilities that are out there as well, right? So then you also have to have a craft mind mindset. Craft mind mindset is basically something that we've talked about the shadow syllabus. So because many times people do not have like a clear direction of where they want to go. So instead of thinking, oh, I don't have a clear career path, what you need to do is think like a craftsman. What skills can you gather to yourself that will still be relevant for the future, right? It may not even be, because, I've asked you to check where you want to be, check the institution. What if you don't have like a path at all that you want to, you're not even sure where you're going to end up. So instead of waiting to figure out where you're going to end up, what you can do is just pick up skills here, try this out, pick up another skill, then pick it up. And most times you find your passion where you've already been working in, right? Not that you sit down and if I have an eureka moment and this, many times it's in the path that you've already been working that you now find your passion. And if you don't, then it's easier for you to say, okay, this is not my path, I've tried it out, right? Than not even trying at all, right? So it's like what they say about the Thomas Edison bulb, right? So it helps you every setback you have some sort, or every moment of, I don't know what to call it, is a path, it's a step forward to what you actually want to do or what you would actually be doing in the future. Even mindset is basically understanding that your classmates are not your competition, right? So a lot of us think that your classmates are competition. So you hoard certain things, you steal certain things, or you keep information or stuff like that. It's not going to help you. right? So you have to think of it as a long game, right? So for example, if you were playing a game of soccer, right, the person who always plays fair, right? The person who always plays fair, the person who always passes the ball, the person who always, puts himself in positions where others can score a goal or do something, is always going to be called to play another game. Contrast that with somebody who is a selfish player. No matter how skilled you are, if you're a selfish player in soccer, and you know how we used to do it when we're younger, you'll be like the person who chooses other people. People are not going to want to choose you in the long term, right? And it's a long game. Life is a very, very long game. And when we're talking about career as well, you're going to spend more than 2/3 of your life in your career, right? So it's a very, very long game. So if you're thinking with a finite mindset, if you keep information now, you're not helping yourself in the long run because you're not going to be invited to certain tables, right? You don't know who's going to help you, and this has played out in so many scenarios, right? I may not be able to mention now. So you need to be able to think long as well because it also contributes to your career success. I think I'm already wasting time. Yes. So they need to build skill set as well. You have to understand that people no longer think of certificate, but what you can do. It's more about certificate now rather than certificate, right? Take a cue from the Igbo apprenticeship system, for example. That industry is an industry of millions and millions of dollars and naira, right? So people like Cosmos Maduka and the owner of Innocent Motors, for example, came out of such systems and they're making lots and lots of money. But these people did not go through school per se, right? They didn't. So, but they're still able to make lots and lots and lots of money. So it tells you that skill is something that you need to pay attention to. So pay attention to your technical skills that have to do with MedLab, for example. Pay attention to domain-specific skills as well. How to act in certain situations. That's what that basically means. But pay attention to skills that are also relevant for the future. So there's a lot of AI, which I think you're going to learn AI prompting in the next session. There's a lot of data literacy stuff going on now. And it's easy to dismiss this as of the things that tech people do. It's not, right? So if you're thinking very far enough, you would know that, 20 years from now, everything that we're doing will be governed by data and not this AI that everybody's still rejecting now. There's no point doing that. What you should do instead is try to start to learn these things bit by bit by bit so that you're not left out in that future. In fact, what we're doing in Nigeria at the moment is not close to anything revolutionary about what AI and what biotechnology and stuff like that are actually doing in the world out there. Forget, you're not doing anything AI. If it's ChatGPT that we're still doing, that's not what AI is. If you go to other countries, you see how young people are developing apps for this and that and this and that, and like very, very young people. So we haven't even started. So whatever you are afraid of now for AI is not founded. We've not started anything. Right? So data, AI are things you need to start building for the future now. Then human-centric skills like leadership, public speaking, how to work in teams, conflict resolution are also very important. I would have, if I had like 5 hours, I would have broken all of these things down for you, but I don't. Then thinking skills, problem-solving skills, analytical skills are things you also need to work on. Then you also need to build your character, right? It's also very important. And you need to build resilience. You need to follow a rhythm, strengthen your willpower, and preserve your integrity. So let me just talk on the rhythm. One of the things that school does for you is that it helps you keep to a rhythm, right? So you wake up by 6, do your morning devotion or whatever. You go to class by 8, come back, have lunch, go for lab, come back. What all of those things are doing for you is that they are training your body to follow a certain rhythm. Because when you get out there and there's nobody telling you to do anything, if you have not built a rhythm for your system, for your body or something, or for yourself, it's easy for you to break apart. Like very, very easy for you to break apart. So I usually tell my junior colleagues, the best thing you can do in College of Medicine is to have a pharmacy student as your roommate, because those guys they're like machines, right? They wake up very early, 7:30, they've left for class, they come back, you're seeing them doing man, like there's something it just does to you, so subconsciously, like yourself, you want to kind of keep up, right? And the reason for that, so I'm going to give an example, right? So there's what you call a speleologist. So speleologists are people who study caves and the ecosystem of caves. So this guy goes into a cave and he wants to find out how well he still keeps track of time and still keeps track of every other indicator that helps in your daily activities and stuff. It comes out after like 30 something days, right? So it comes out after 30 something days, and they ask him, how long do you think you've spent in the cave? He says he has spent 20 something days, meaning that he has lost track of about 10 days. That's what happens in the real world as well. If you don't have a rhythm that helps you keep track of things, you just find out that you're just sailing through, you're just cruising as life goes, and then you just end up wasting your time, right? So you need to build a rhythm, and that's what school helps you do. So the semesters that you have, the weekly practicals and everything, all of those things help you build a rhythm, right? So if you allow it to do that for you, then you'll be better off for it. Then you need to build resilience. I've talked about resilience briefly, so maybe let me not stay too much on that. But you also need to build your willpower. And the way that you build your willpower is by having structures around what you do. People always think that that they don't have enough willpower, especially students, or that you lack time. I don't even like to talk about time management because everything falls under willpower, right? So no matter the time management technique that you think of, Pomodoro and everything, whatever, if you don't have if you don't have a strong willpower, all of those things will fall flat to the ground, irrespective of what the time management technique is. And this is personal for me, right? So, because you're going to talk about time management too. And willpower, the way you build willpower is by having structures around what you do. So most times, the regular student life instead is that you wake up, you press your phone. So that reach period where you could have used to do something useful, use it to press phone or do some irrelevant things. And what you do by that is that you've given away your willpower to the phone screen and everything, because in fact you're constantly telling yourself you need to get out of the scrolling, but you keep getting dragged into it, right? And by the time you say you want to read, you've already lost. So think of a willpower as like a bank account, for example, right? Think of it as a bank account. You draw from it regularly. If you've drained that willpower throughout the day, trying to fight off distractions, phone, friends, all of those things, you've drained your bank account, right? But if you have structures in place that tell you, you don't even have to start thinking of, that this is when I wake up, this is when I read, like is a regular thing. You don't need willpower for all of those things at all. You just be cruising through. If you form that over a stable period of time, you're going to find that you have more willpower to do more things, and then you have like a time slot for when you have your own breaks and everything. It's just automatic. You don't need to start calculating, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, it just comes natural. And then you find that you have more time to do certain things. Like integrity is what integrity is, right? It's going to be I know somebody personally that has built millions of naira business just because of his integrity. So when he says he's going to do certain things, people know that he's going to, as in he does business with people that don't even know him at all. And they send him money for certain things. And they recommend other people. And they keep recommending other people. And they keep recommending other people. I'm not joking, right? This person is somebody I'm supposed to talk to tomorrow because I'm interviewing him for the book that I'm writing as well. Like millions of naira business just because he's somebody that has integrity, right? So very important as well. Then your network is also important. I developed this thing called Power Click, and the idea comes from what you call power couple. So you know how power couples are. They are strong people, whatever. They are rich and stuff. So, but there's also what you call Power Click. And a good example of Power Click is the PayPal Mafia. I don't know if you heard of it. came out of PayPal with the people that, Elon Musk started Tesla, Reid Hoffman started LinkedIn, somebody started some other things, and that clique is rich because they help themselves to grow. So this person is investing in that person's business. That one is serving as a partner for that person and stuff like that. To bring it home, you also have what you call Paystack Mafia, right? So Paystack Mafia, very similar stuff. So the people that came out of Paystack were the ones that founded Mono, that founded Stella, that founded a couple of other fintech, edutech companies that are making millions of naira, right? So the idea is you have to have a clique of friends that are forward thinking, right? You have to have a clique of friends. Yesterday, I saw one of my junior colleagues posted that they had like a clique of girls that used to read together, and there were 7. Is it yesterday or today that I saw it? Out of those 7 people, 4 of them finished with the first class. 4. So I'm sure the remaining 3 were very close to getting the first class. So you have to form a clique of people that are forward thinking. You help yourselves out, you do this, you do that. I have a friend as well like that. I also did an interview for him. If you get my, you see what I'm saying there. These ones were even like some of the people in the clique were my roommates, right? There are 4 of them. 3 of them finished with the first class. One is now a Rhodes Scholar. He's at Oxford doing his master's. And the others are doing like really amazing well as well. So have a group of forward-thinking people. It's very, very helpful. You're sharing opportunities with each other. What you learn in certain places, you can bring it to the clique. What that other person learns, certain opportunities, they can bring it, like you're enriching the clique, right? So have a power clique, very important. But also stay connected with your weak ties. So your weak ties are people that you don't really know very well, but there are people that you met somewhere, and the reason for that is because even when you have a power clique or you have friends or people that you know, the problem with that is that because you guys know yourself too well, it means that the opportunities that you get access to many times will be redundant. Because if you get access to the opportunity, it's very likely that your friend in that power clique has also seen another opportunity, right? But if one person has a weak tie with somebody like in a completely different discipline that your skill can be translated into, so let's say the person sees it on somebody's status, so you can bring that, because that person is your weak tie, you can easily ask maybe information about and that information will be something that nobody in your clique knows about. So you're bringing that information, putting back in your clique and stuff. So there are many opportunities that you can come across because you have weak ties, right? So you get to see different kinds of opportunities. Then try to have a mentor as well. I'm not going to say too much on this, but just try to have a mentor. I mean, where I am, for example, today is because of the mentor that I have. Not entirely, but very key. The job that I'm doing currently was my mentor that helped me get it. My internship that I did, I got it through the job. I don't know if you're getting, but your mentors, most times you see your lecturers as just people that are wicked and stuff, but those guys are gatekeepers. They are gatekeepers. They have information that you may not know about if you do not have a one-on-one conversation with them. I know an opportunity that my mentor sent to me one time like that.
Sir?
Who's that? So I know an opportunity that my mentor sent to me one time like that. She was like, don't send it to anybody else, right? Don't send it to anybody else. So they are gatekeepers. They have certain access to information that you may not know about. But basically, have a mentor. Have somebody that looks after you. Have somebody that is concerned about your growth. It also helps you on a psychological level because it gives you somebody that can hold you accountable, right? It's easy to fall apart if there's nobody holding you accountable for certain things. But if you have somebody that is checking in on you and stuff, then you want to stay serious, right? So have a mentor. And don't underestimate your peer mentors. Your peer mentors are maybe your seniors and stuff. There's a lot that they can do, right? I'm not going to talk too much on that. Then avoid networking. Instead, do anti-networking. So what this basically means, so when you go to conferences or you go to networking sessions, they always tell you, network with people. They don't really tell you how to do it. Now, if you go about and you start saying, and you start trying to get somebody to give you an opportunity just because you were in a certain same location with them, these guys know it. They know that that's what you're coming to do, right? They know that the difference between you and them is different. It's so much that there's no way you can have equal exchange of values or of usefulness for each other. So even before you start talking, they already know that who is this one, right? What you can do instead is called anti-networking. So ask questions, just be curious about the other person, right? And then let that question lead you to keeping the contact of that person till when you need it. So you can keep in touch with the person. You know, you're still asking this, you see somebody post something, you ask about it and stuff like that. So when you eventually need the person, you don't go about asking for things immediately. Some people, you know, they'll go to networking sessions and they'll hold their CV ready. It's important that you do that because you could be lucky. But it's more important that you find a way to contribute equal value to somebody, which is also another thing about anti-networking. If you're networking and you don't have something to contribute, then you're just wasting your time, right? So you have to have something that you're also contributing to other guys that will be helpful to them as well. Then resources. So resources, first thing is yourself. Then scholarship opportunities, find them, look for them. They're there. There's so many of them. Fellowship opportunities as well. If scholarship opportunities help you fund certain things, so fellowship opportunities help, like, gives you money for certain things. Fellowship opportunities gives you exposure and a network of people that would help you with many other things that even money cannot do, right? So the person that I talked about that is a road scholar now. How he got into roads and the whole thing was through one of the fellowships that he joined. You know, in the fellowship that he joined, he met a couple of people that were also road scholars. They kind of gave him the confidence to also apply, right? One of his
Sorry to cut you, Muiwa. Your time is up, sir. I'm so sorry.
So reputation as well.
Round up.
Yeah. So you also need to build a reputation, and then you also need to take care of yourself. Again, I wish I had more time because like there are many examples that I could have given that will make it more relatable for you, and the frameworks that you need as well for many of the things that you need to understand about some of the things that I've said. This session was never going to be enough. So while I will thank you for the time.
Exactly, sir.
While I will thank you for the time, I would also let you know that there's a book that I'm currently writing that explains everything I'm talking about now in more relatable ways. So you can, the book is supposed to be launched in March, but there's a free reading sample that you can get on Seller. So you could check it out, and when it's launched, you could eventually still get it. So thank you very much. My time is up. So
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah. So questions, I guess. Gideon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Now this is time for question. If you have questions, or you can drop your question on the chat box, or you can raise your hand and you'll be asked to unmute.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear
I
you. Do
can
you have
hear
a
you.
question? All right, so if you have a question, so sorry for my network break. So if you have a question, please. Okay, someone says, Israel Olaniran says, can you please go over the issue of anti-networking? It actually sounds counterintuitive. Okay, so I think I would want to just go over everything so that we do not waste so much time on all of them. Let me see. Okay, it said, what skill did you say you wish you learned when you were in school that you paid a lecture for it? Okay, so I don't think maybe he didn't hear that. And so he said, another person says, Adetoro Samuel says, sorry, is there any scholarship platform we can apply for? So Samuel, I don't know if you got all the questions.
Yes, so scholarship person that you can apply from, there are so many. So I would say, I mean, there are common ones. There's the MTN scholarship. There is you can apply for your state scholarship. There's federal government scholarship. There are a lot. You just have to look for them, right? So they are out. They are there. There is the Shell scholarship. There's Chevron. There's so many, right? So just have to. And now life has made it easier for you. So you can actually just go to your ChatGPT and ask, I want scholarship to apply for as an undergraduate. Please help me search, blah, blah, blah. And it will just do that for you. Or there are scholarship forums that you can join. So I know that there are scholarship forums that you can join. So you can search for those scholarship forums and they can be sending scholarship opportunities to you on your WhatsApp on a daily basis. The skill was bioinformatics and I'm currently learning it now. So bioinformatics or anything data basically, which is what I was trying to stress. There's a lot of need. So where I'm currently working, for example, we work under a consortium of different research groups. So there are many research groups under the consortium. And they're generating, so they are doing analysis. I think now they've done analysis for over 100 people that have PD. 100,000 people, sorry, that have PD. So there's a lot of analysis going on, right? There's a lot of data generation going on, not analysis. And they're looking for people that can help them analyze and interpret those data and use it to direct solutions and stuff. So they would literally pay you. Let me not just talk too much, right? So there is a lot of need when it comes to data and science research network, right? Because not a lot of people know or do these things. So if you can build, capacity in this regard, it would help you in the future, right? And it's not just for science or anything, like data generally.
Thank you so much. Sir, I don't know. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, Gideon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's because we still have a lot of more questions here that I feel we also need to address. That's it. Okay. So someone says, how can we build capacity in regard to research networking? And that person says, okay, like okay. He says he's very confused at this point in learning a skill. So he has been hearing a lot about learning a skill and he's very confused. He does not know where to start from. So yeah. Another person says, can you go over experience building? And then the pharmacological research that you mentioned as well. So if you can just touch this before our time elapses. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I don't think I talked about pharmacological researchers, so I'm going to defer the research question to the research session.
Okay, sir.
Dr. Safe should be able to answer that better. Then, what other question did I ask? The first question was on what?
Yeah, I said the person says he's trying to learn a skill and then he's finding it so hard. And that one says, how can they build capacity in regard? Okay, that's research networking. So I think we'll leave that as well. Someone says, can you briefly explain the government shadow syllabus? I'm confused at this point. So
Okay, so if you're trying to learn a skill, just start with one thing. If you don't know what to start with, just start with one thing and just start there. Right? So usually people want to gain clarity on where they should be headed. But at this stage, especially if you're in your 20s, you may not get clarity on every direction that you think you should go in life. So start somewhere. Start with learning one of those skills. Just start. So as you start, then you will know whether something that you're interested in long run or not. Then for shadow syllabus, again, it's just identifying the gaps. So if you want to be a social, let's say you want to be, let's say you're a journalist, for example, or you studied mass comm, and you want to apply into a public relations company. If you check, if you know where you are headed to, right? So if you check the requirements for public relations specialist, they'll tell you need to have competence in this, you need to have competence in that, you need to know this, you need to know SEO marketing, or you need to know UX research and stuff like that, right? And you check your curriculum, you can see in your curriculum very clearly that there's nothing like SEO right in there. There's nothing like UX research there. It's blank. There's nothing like that there. So there's a gap. So what you now do is on your shadow syllabus, you list all of those things that these are things I need to learn before I graduate. And you start to pick them, maybe semester by semester or something, or whatever time frame you want to use. So that by the time you're graduating, you're job ready, your job market ready. You don't have to now go and start learning all those additional skills again. I don't know if that helps.
okay, yes, I didn't know I was muted. So I also have a question, right? I think you made mention of mentors. So I would be speaking that in a case whereby we want to get mentors, how do you think we can go about getting the right mentors that would help us in our journey? So I just wanted to talk about that briefly.
Okay. So I'll talk about it in steps. Where should I start? Okay, so the first step you need to get a mentor is proximity, right? It's easier to find somebody that is around you to mentor you than somebody who's far away. So the first step to getting a mentor is proximity. So you want to place yourself within meaningful interactions where possible that makes the particular mentor see you or know you or want to get involved with you. So that looks like asking questions in class or asking questions in events, right? Or asking questions in wherever space that you know that you're also going to find that mentor. Then you want to also signal competence because mentors don't just take you because they want to help you. You also have to add this what you call badging. They also want to bask and reflect. They want to be able to say, oh, that person was my mentee, right? So it means that you have to have something to show for it, right? So they respond to students that are curious, they respond to students that are disciplined, they respond to, not necessarily, so when I say student, I don't mean like lecturer-student relations, it could be anybody. They respond to people that show some kind of commitment and follow through to stuffs. Then you also have to be useful to yourself, right? So usefulness is also important because mentorship is an exchange of values, right? Yes, there's no way the value you're going to provide for your mentor would be at par with whatever they're going to provide for you. It's not possible because they are way, way ahead of you, right? One session with your mentor can mean like the world for you, for example, right? But you have to be able to provide some usefulness. So it's not as if you're just taking and taking from them, right? There has to be something that you're also doing, right, to provide usefulness. And then you have to show consistency, right? So you have to be consistent with such kinds of people. Over time, you may not even formalize, like say you're my mentor, you're my mentor. So for example, my own mentor, for example, now, there's no point in our journey where we said, you're my mentor, I'm your mentee. It was just a relationship that built over time. And in public space, when I call her my mentor, he admits it. Do you understand? So proximity, you want to signal competence, you want to be useful, and then you want to be consistent as well. So, so the first thing you need to ask yourself is.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for that question. And someone has a question, and I think this is the last one we'll be taking for today. So she says, I think that's Esther Opafi. So she says, please, can you give us specific skills that we can venture into that will be useful to us as scientists also? So I think the skills should be specific to scientists, something of that sort.
Yeah, I think the most important one is the one that I've mentioned, because it preps you for the future, right? So it's not particularly domain specific, but it cuts across, which is what I've spoken about when it comes to, I said data literacy, right? So, but as scientists, still data, because you generate a lot of data. There's a lot of molecular genomic stuff now that's going on. So you want to get involved in that as well. So you want to learn hands-on skills on wet lab, dry lab, that kind of thing. There's a lot of molecular stuff, genomics, anything that has to do with those things, very important. I think it will make you stand out. But you could also develop interest in very, very specific things. So it depends again on your own curiosity. So how much you're trying to cover in terms of your ignorance, right? Because then you come across certain things that maybe not be accessible, or everybody may not know about, and you just niche there. And that's what you're just doing, and it's helpful for you. But every other thing is basic, general stuff, lab work, your school. So at least develop competence in all of those things as well. And then you can go from there.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, let's clap for our speaker. Thank you so much, Samuiwa. God bless you for the impactful section. And thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. So tomorrow is packed. Tomorrow we'll be having our research session. So sorry about the network glitch. I actually did learn a lot. And I must say, Origins is packed. So please do well to inform your friends, inform your course mates, inform people. Just, this is going to help them. Just don't hoard this information. Share it out there. Help that friend, help that classmate, help that person to be more knowledgeable. Share the light. So tomorrow is going to be our research session, like I said before. And please do all to share your posts, share the posts and what you've learned from this session on our social media pages, right? You can tag MedLabConvo as well, and then we see it. So there's a prize for the most active participants. So please, if you want to win prizes, I want to win prizes, but yeah, so I'm going to participate as well. So please do well to participate in the posting of what you've learned, and then just share. You never can tell that person that has been saying the message, that has been saying the whole post, will just be like, oh, because of this social thing that you've shared about this, let me even try to join. Let me see what this person is saying. And then you see that you've just motivated somebody. So please do well to share it. We'll be meeting here same time tomorrow by 8 p.m. we kick off, and then we're starting the research session. So thank you very much, everyone. For your time. Thank you for the lessons learned. Thank you for making yourself available. And please, everything we've learned, sometimes we learn a lot, but we do not put them into practice. So we will together, right, put everything by the grace of God into practice. So please do well to start implementing everything. start implementing all the knowledge you've gotten. We've heard that there's still time, there's still time. So what next question that we think we'll ask ourselves when we get to 500 level, or maybe after final year or whatnot, we can ask ourselves now and start building ourselves now. So university is not a prison. Just seek knowledge, and everything by God's grace, God will help us. In Jesus' name, amen. So please do have a good night's rest, and it's bye for now. See you tomorrow, everyone. See you tomorrow. So you can kindly leave the call. Thank you so much.